Dutch Karuta game. Tsujijiri business Toya Sunbei, real name is Sakiya Sunbei. Originally a master of Awa no Kunikawajima, he has an extraordinary skill in slashing the swords of the Tanishi style. Unlike the locals of other territories, Awa's original priests gathered with Yiyo from all over the world when the ancestor of the Hachisuka family, Kuroko Aimasa, entered the country, and the treatment of the endless Ronin. I was in trouble and assigned an undeveloped mountainous area. This lived in a half-agricultural and half-samurai, became a Hachisuka specialty, and was used to prepare for the spear of the secondary gun during the military camp, and the formal style in peacetime was that of Gotakatori, of course, and the audience was also mourned. It is a feature that many martial arts appear. Among them, there is also a powerful family called Hirashi Sengoku. Toya Sunbei has been threatening the riverbanks of Osaka, where the castle is located, from this spring, crushing the family of Sengoku and wandering around the three cities. At the pine trees at the mouth of Kyobashi, Mankichi was struck by a child, and while mocking, "Well, don't you call me," I put the sword that I showed as slashing in the sheath, and the rope was taut like a wire. I pulled the edge with a wire and pulled it. Damn. Mankichi holds back with mortality. Although he sold his face a little, he was a man who was said to have abandoned his Hojo-jitsu and ran away. Since Sunbei released it aiming at that, there was no love. Mankichi staggered, and at the same time, the rope but that bounced off like a living thing wrapped around without any notice. Then, it was tied up by Mankichi, a business singer, and Abe Kobe was twisted for Sunbei, making it difficult to wind his hands and feet. Hearing him biting his teeth, kill me, Sunbei, who was looking into the dark river, clapping his hands one by one, and with a promise like one night, the third ship I came up with guy. What were you crazy about, big brother? Says Miyoshi from the river. I caught one of my eyes. I thought I'd take him to Sumiyoshi village, and keep it for 4 or 5 days. What's the boring imitation? Suzumushi screams, but the eyes aren't so cute. Don't kick him into the river. Well, it's comforting to hear the inner curtains of my minions and concentricity, and it's for the sake of your first pass. By the way, Miyoshi, I'm staying at Iroha Chaya tonight, so can you take this one and go home first? It's a good idea. Leave Miyoshi, who is a good person, and play around with Iroha Chaya's products. Don't be jealous, I'll be back early tomorrow. Take care only of your body. Don't make a fool, ha 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 ha. Sunbei, leaving a tickling laugh, disappears into the darkness with the sound of seta, chururi, chururi. From that night, Mankichi was imprisoned in a suspicious house in the forest enclosure, Miyoshi's house in Sumiyoshi village. The place where his rope was untied and lifted up is an empty room that looks like an attic. At dawn, when I looked around at the light flowing from the iron grill, I found that thick ropes, sailboats, nautical charts and other ship equipment and guns were packed in the ceiling. This is the nest of a unloader, Mankichi looked at. A unloader is a person who engages in forbidden smuggling, and it is a business to sell the legal items collected by friends to a foreign ship once or every second year. Kobaden's tertiary in this house is, in other words, the talent of the unloader. It was this Miyoshi who recommended Tsujijiri to Sunbei of Toya. The purpose is to rob his waist sword rather than his bosom money. At that time, Japanese swords were the most profitable item for unloaders, and the most difficult item to buy up. Therefore, Tsujijiri confused the officials in the gory fog, and it became a way to let the tea house enjoy the deep feminine Sunbei. However, Mankichi doesn't feel like tying up such a person. In front of him, a big mountain is hanging down. The great suspicion of 10 years of hardship, which was implied by that letter, is burning with a merit that makes the world boil with the tip of the 10 hands. Yeah, I wonder if there is any way to get out of here. The agony was mischievous, and the third and fourth were already near midnight. Oh. When I was listening, I heard a lot of people from the room below. And from time to time, there was a mysterious sound like hitting a tatami mat. A strange noise? I wonder what started downstairs. Mankichi repeated the efforts he tried yesterday, and the day before yesterday, in a pitch-black room, knowing that it was useless. The exit was a lock, the window was an iron grill, and while pushing and searching for more than half an hour, I found a hole in the floorboard in the corner that could accommodate one finger. I didn't think I was squeezed, but when I casually hooked it up and lifted it, a square board popped open by chance. When I gently descended from the ceiling that separates the downstairs, I found what the goods of the unloader were hidden. I don't even look at such things. He started to scream like a cat to the light. At a lower place, there is a wire mesh column, and if you look into it, you can see the room below and humans completely. When I wondered what I was doing, my friends, including Mitsuji, scattered beautiful bills, piled up small oval gold and silver, and played the Dutch Karuta game. I was ridiculous. What's this sound? But fortunately, Mankichi lay down as it was, and I thought it would be useless to remember their physiognomy. The number of heads is 5. Yuzo, a shopkeeper, a samurai called Hayato Tojo, an old man of Totoku, a young man named Tame, and Miyoshi of Kobaton, especially Miyoshi, feels like his falcon with a sharp eye on the burnt skin. Mankichi nodded. I'm always bloody. I'm tired tomorrow, and I'm trying to pull off the attic and run away. Sure enough, the Shrine of Souls didn't stop. I didn't know the chicken ringing. I didn't know that the sun was shining, and even tomorrow, I took over the candles to protect that night, and finally the mischief became a mess. Someone complained about it, and I started to mess with something, but suddenly the board door on the other side opened from the outside, and the daring sunlight flowed in from there. Who are you? When the 5 scared eyes turned around unexpectedly. Amazing, it's 10 nights. Sunbei quietly returned on the 5th day, becoming a sword. And from behind that, there was no word to say that he was wearing a dazzling thick belt, a young lady in furusode, and a ballworm-colored lipstick. Oh, I'm sorry, I was surprised at the place. He came and sat down with the big men fluttering in the shining oval, and small grains without any flinch. If you think of someone, you're not a man. When Miyoshi looked into his eyes, the latter 4 also forgot about the confusion of Karuta, and for a while they were sucking their tired eyes from this one-wheeled human being. In the meantime, it was a story that if you went well, you would immediately return to Edo, but then did that job finally become a misstep? I'm sorry, I'm not that kind of person, laughs Atsuna. Since I went as I expected, I was flirting with looking up, and while I was sitting in the landlord's lady, looking at the 5 turrets of Dotonbori, yesterday there were 7 or 8 actors and men in the Tamajiro play. I was tired of playing there at the Iris Tea House on the island. As soon as Sunbei added a story, I met him there, a half-tataman that came out of the troupe. Then, my brother shouldn't be alone. I think I brought in a tea house item, or someone. It's a handline. However, there is a difference between a saleswoman's item and an Edomate Suna as a peony in the poppy. One of them immediately turned back. Oh, I'm afraid to flirt, so I'm grateful to you last night, and I came here to show off. Somehow this isn't interesting. However, this young lady has an unsightly heart, and in fact, I am eating her elbows brilliantly. While laughing, oh, that's why I was relieved, Atsuna gazed at her thin fingertips, taking 4 or 5 Karuta cards. Mr. Miyoshi, is this Hana Karuta after all? The one that has become popular from Nagasaki, it's from a foreign country. Let's try something that looks interesting. Why, I'm sorry for the money I've spent in every match between men. Isn't this stupid enough? From between the belts, 3 seals of 100 ryo that seemed to be cut off. The 5 involuntarily recede their knees and instinctively burn their cunning eyes. Behind the ceiling, Mankichi is shining a cat's eyes from the wire mesh between the columns. Hey, I don't know when they'll get tired and go to bed. He secretly slammed. The Dutch Karuta game, which I didn't even know about, got on the cheats of Miyoshi without any help, and Atsuna lost about 200 ryo without any love. I think a lot, it's your turn. Atsuna flipped the bill with her finger, and pulled out from one hand, saying, I often get only bad hands, but I seemed to think for a moment, and I didn't feel like anything. I looked at the ceiling with my upper eyes. I bumped into Mankichi's eyes, looking down through the gap between the columns. Mankichi shrugged his neck in a hurry as he saw a complexion that moved, oh. However, when I started making noise now, I thought it was rather bad, so I had a painful wisdom. and fortunately I could see everyone's hands from above, and I told him not to hit the tag that the tie was pulling out. What's wrong? Wait a minute. Once I glanced at Mankichi, the signal was to hit the right one. Anyway, when I looked at it that way, I got the bill I wanted. Now, after that, there is a mirror that reflects the back of the enemy, so I have to wonder. Immediately I won and collected the money in the hall. Oh, that was fun. Well then, that's it. Atsuna pulled out the obi fried with a cool face, stuffed it with gold and silver that weighed in a box, and she quickly put it on her body. Miyoshi soothes the Ronin Hayato Tojo, who says, "Wait, I'll endure this. It's okay. Even if you're an old man, you'll be staying for 3 or 4 days anyway. In the meantime, you'll be able to make as many arrangements as you want, and some beginners are just stupid. Oh sleepy, I have to sleep today." When the 5 people became sick and rolled there with their hand pillows, Toya Sunbei suddenly stood up, suddenly opened the closet, jumped from that step to the ceiling, and grabbed Mankichi's collar. I dragged it down. "No, this cop, why did you come out to such a place?" The whole place was abuzz with excitement, but they couldn't have dreamed that this was the man who had made Atsuna win. However, the ferocity that hates cops suddenly surrounded him. Big Brother and Mitsuji looked at Toya's face and said, "I pulled in a boring person, so I can't take care of him, but I'm wondering what to do with this guy. I completely forgot." However, when I looked at the column now, I dragged it down because it was moving under the wire mesh, but bastard, I must have been aiming for a chance to escape. It's a hassle, and on the day I escaped, it's a bush snake, so why don't you get rid of it quickly? Yeah, let's show you the Tanishi-style sword in the garden. Hey, help me? Wanting to stop by, his arms and collar grabbed him, and pulled Zozel and Mankichi into the garden. A large tree of Castanopsis is tied to its root with a rough rope, and Miyoshi slams it with a stick. Well, no case, you must have sniffed out this unloader companion, because he was just calling for Toya's big brother by himself. I wonder what he knows at the magistrate's office. Hey, who is your partner? There must have been a scrutiny to take care of it. Guys? I'm sorry, this is it. Pasiri, and the pain of the whip that breaks the irony. I'm holding back. But rather than the pain, he agonized over the last second until he managed to save him. If I don't help myself here, I will have to return to the dawn of the big incident that I have grasped, and return to the Avide again, and both Professor Tsuniki and Mr. Tawara will be surrounded by the contempt of the lifelong society, and will have to spend their lives in the unfortunate darkness. When you think about it, life is regrettable. No, this guy. Miyoshi throws a stick and urges Sunbei to cut his sword, saying, "It doesn't seem like a big deal when I break my bones and open my mouth." Only Atsuna seemed to be pitiful. "Please help me," he said quietly. "If you kill one or half of your eyes, you can't do anything wrong with the big ones. Hey everyone, I'm a posterity, so please help me. It's terrible." Mitsuji shook his head. "Return this guy, you can see our Nijo, and it's known that the bell of the lantern will come back soon. Big brother, I'm gonna kill you soon." Sunbei nodded to his attention, saying, "Yeah, the blood fat is old, and the color of the sword is new." Saburo Sukahiro's sword was pulled out, and the scabbard was left on the porch, and the drop on his right hand was pulled. I started to walk under the vertebrae.